And ladies and gentlemen, our honored speaker tonight is Dr. Martin Luther King.
So pale.
There are some things so dear, so precious, so eternally true, that they are worth dying for. And if a man has not discovered something he is willing to die for, he is not fit to live. Loving our oppressor is one of the most misunderstood aspects of the nonviolent discipline when it goes over to the area about loving people. People ask me all the time, what in the world do you mean? Love these people who are oppressing me. And I always have to stop and try to give the meaning of love in this context. It would be nonsense to urge the oppressed people to love their violent oppressors in an affectionate sense. That would be nonsense. Fortunately, the Greek language comes to our aid here. There are 3 words in Greek for love. One is the word eros. Eros is a sort of aesthetic love. Plato talked about it a great deal in his dialogues, a yearning of the soul for the realm of the divine. This comes to us as a sort of romantic love, and so we all know about this. We've experienced it and read about it in all the beauties of literature. In a sense, Shakespeare was talking about eros when he said, "Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. It is an ever-fixed mark, that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark." You know, I remember that because I used to quote it to my wife when we were dating. Phileo is another layer of love, a sort of intimate affection between personal friends. It's a reciprocal love. And on this level, you love people you like. You love because you are loved. This is friendship. And then the Greek language comes out with another word, the word agape. Agape is more than romantic or aesthetic love. Agape is more than friendship. Agape is understanding, creative, redemptive goodwill for all men. It is an overflowing love which seeks nothing in return. Theologians would say that it is the love of God operating in the human heart. And when one rises to love on this level, he loves every man, even though he has, on the basis of that love, to stand up against the evils which have been structured in society. Even though he will have to demonstrate, he will have to boycott, he will have to sit in, he will have to march, he will have to picket. He looks in the face of his violent oppressor, and he says that he is that way because he was taught that. For generations, his parents taught him. His church taught him that. His schools taught him that. His culture taught him that. And somehow, you look into his face, and you seek to tear down the unjust system while maintaining an active attitude of goodwill toward the perpetrator of that unjust system. You rise to the level of loving the person who does the evil deed while hating the deed that the person does. And I believe that it is this kind of love that will lead us out of this dark night of racial injustice to a brighter day of brotherhood. Somehow, in our most difficult moments, at times, we've been able to rise up to the essence of nonviolence. And we've been able to look into the eyes of our most violent oppressors and say in substance, we will match your capacity to inflict suffering by our capacity to endure suffering. We will meet your physical force with soul force. Do to us what you will, and we will still love you. We cannot in all good conscience obey your unjust laws, because non-cooperation with evil is as much a moral obligation as is cooperation to good. So throw us in jail, and we will still love you. Send your hooded perpetrators of violence into our communities at the midnight hour, and drag us out onto some wayside road and beat us, and leave us half dead, and as difficult as it is, we will still love you. Threaten our children and bomb our homes, and we will still love you. And be ye assured that we will wear down by our capacity to suffer, and one day we will win our freedom. And we will not only win freedom for ourselves, we will so appeal to your heart and your conscience that we will win you in the process. And our victory will then be a double victory. This is the meaning of nonviolence. And when we grasp it, we will not seek to rise from a position of disadvantage to one of advantage, thereby subverting justice. We will not substitute one tyranny for another, but we will know that a doctrine of black supremacy is as dangerous and evil as a doctrine of white supremacy. And that ultimately God is not interested merely in the freedom of black men and brown men and yellow men, but God is interested in the freedom of the whole human race, and the creation of a society where all men will live together as brothers, and every man will respect the dignity and worth of human personality. And with this philosophy, I believe that we can go this additional distance, working hard and mobilizing our forces. There are certain technical words within every academic discipline which soon become stereotypes and cliches. Modern psychology has a word that is probably used more than any other word in psychology. It is the word maladjusted. Certainly, we all want to live a well-adjusted life in order to avoid neurotic and schizophrenic personalities. And I must honestly say to you this afternoon, my friends, there are some things within our world, in our nation, of which I'm proud to be maladjusted, in which I call upon all people of goodwill to be maladjusted, until the good society is realized. I must honestly say that I never intend to become adjusted to segregation and discrimination. I never intend to adjust myself to religious bigotry. I never intend to become adjusted to economic conditions that will take necessities from the many to give luxuries to the few. But I recognize that there are between 40 and 50 million of our brothers and sisters in this country who are perishing on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of prosperity. And I will never adjust myself to these conditions. I will never be satisfied until all of God's children will have the basic necessities of life. I must honestly say that I never intend